Hey
Hi
everyone!
So today's video is Luxy Hair 101. So we're pretty much gonna cover all the most asked questions because we get so many questions about Luxy Hair, and we do have the answers in our FAQ section on the website, but we thought it would be fun to kind of put in a video
Put it all in
where
one
we
video.
can kind of show you certain things and talk about it in real life. So let's begin.
So we offer two sets, 120 grams and 160 grams. I'm going to talk about the difference because this is probably one of the most asked questions. The difference between the two sets is only the weight. The hair is the same quality, it's
The same length,
it's 20 inches long, and it's all clip-ins. And the only difference is the weight that the packages come in. So 120 gram set is good for ladies that have fine to medium hair types. And 160 grams is for someone who has medium to thick hair.
Like us.
Like us. I would say if you have super thick hair, you know, that's might be a little bit of a difficult thing to blend.
Yeah, you would need definitely more than 160
Or you
grams.
would need them layered to blend in with your hair. But if you have, like most people, like us, probably medium to thick hair, then the 160 grams is for you. And
if you're not sure, I think it's still better to go with 160 gram set, because then you would have some extra wefts that you can just play around with. It's better to have more than less.
Because if you find that you're missing maybe like one extra weft, it's better to have that weft as opposed to having to purchase a whole other set, because we do not sell the wefts individually. So that is the only difference. Now, another question we get asked about the difference is whether or not it's just the extra weft that comes with a 160 gram set, or if actual wefts have less hair in the 120 gram set. And the answer to that is the 160 gram set does have a little bit more hair in each weft, on top of having an extra 4 clipped weft. So I think that pretty much covers the difference.
Yeah, so first we're going to show you the 120 gram set compared to 160. I am holding the 120 gram set in number 2.
They're both in number 2. This is 160 and this is 120.
Yeah.
So this ponytail example will probably show you what the difference is between the two. So you can see that it's still very thick. The 120 gram set is still very thick, but in comparison it is obviously a little bit thinner than the 160 gram set, which makes up the 40 gram difference. Okay, so 160 gram set comes with 10 separate wefts, and here I am holding all the wefts, and Mimi's holding all of the wefts in the 120 gram set, which comes with 9 separate pieces. So this comes with 10, and this comes with 9. So let's just compare
them individually.
One of the wefts together. We're both holding up a 4 clipped weft, and you can see the difference that it's very, very minimal. So the 160 gram set is supposed to have a little bit more hair in each weft. So this is the only difference between the two sets. The 160 gram set comes with an extra 4 clipped weft. So we're actually not going to go ahead and show you each weft, because it comes exactly with the same pieces and the same widths in both sets, and the only difference is the 160 gram set has an extra 4 clipped weft, which we just showed you. So that is the only difference.
That's the only difference, and like we mentioned before, is that 120 gram set has a little bit less hair on each weft, which equals to 40 grams altogether.
But I think you can't even see that with just, you know,
just by looking at it, you won't see, because it's
very
so
minimal,
little.
Very minimal.
It's really important to wear all of the wefts in your set, because
especially the 1 clipped wefts that go at the front.
Because the reason we chose, let's say, to have 10 pieces as opposed to one big piece of chunk of hair that you just clip is to disperse them evenly and to make them look as natural as possible. So the 1 clip wefts are really crucial at the end, once you're finishing clipping and everything, is to create a very natural look at the front.
Yes,
absolutely. So you have the hair here, and it's just as full as the back.
Especially for ladies that have layers like myself, it's very, very important to kind of play around. It's gonna be different on everyone depending on your haircut, the shape of your face and all that. So definitely just play around with the placement and do not skip the 1 clipped weft. You can, if you feel like you have already thick hair, skip maybe the 2 clip weft that goes at the front, but do not skip the 1 clipped weft, because it's easier to kind of, you know, disperse them around your head, so it creates more of a natural blend.
Yeah, definitely an important point.
And just to add to the why we decided to have 10 separate wefts as opposed to other brands that offer perhaps double wefted or quad wefts. We, tested out different wefts when we were just kind of beginning and seeing what works for us,
like the best,
exactly, and why we prefer one over the other. And I find that the quad weft, what that means is you have 4 of these. Basically, you have 4 of these, and they're on one.
On top of the other.
On top of the other,
or
sewn in together.
Yeah.
They're sewn in together, and just let's say 3 or 4 clips hold 4 of these. I find that it's very, very heavy, and just having that one big chunk of hair.
You don't feel secure.
I really don't feel secure. It feels like it might be secure on your head, but you feel like it's weighing you down. And on top of that, it's a lot more natural to kind of separate them and do it in layers on your head, as opposed to having your hair, then a chunk of the extensions, then your hair on top. I find that that just makes it look choppy. So that is the reason why we have 10 or 9 separate wefts. It just creates a more of a natural blend, and it is a lot more secure on.
Sometimes we get asked if we wear more than one set, and we can't possibly wear more than one set because there's really literally no room on my head to, put more wefts. We find that 160 gram weft is perfect for medium thick hair, and that's exactly what me and Layla have. And I thought I'd show you guys how I take them off, and
so you can see that she does wear only 10 pieces, and so do I.
This kind of look is perfect, and it looks so full. And
it's the most natural look.
But it's just one set. I wouldn't need more hair because I don't think it would look natural. It would just it would look too weird, too thick.
So she's gonna go ahead and take them off, so
and I'll show you each weft so you can count them if you want. So that's pretty much it. As you can see, I took out all the hair and I'm left with my hair.
All 10 wefts.
And as you can see, my natural hair, which you guys have seen in previous videos, is kind of medium thick. It's medium length, just regular kind of hair. And this is my set, and it obviously, adds so much more volume and thickness and length, of course. So yeah, I hope this makes it kind of clear for you guys that, obviously, what you see is what you get. If we wanted a thicker set, we would just create a thicker set and sell it for more money. But we find that, 160 gram set is perfect.
It's more than enough.
It's more than enough for most people.
Yeah.
And, we try to provide it at the most affordable price that we can.
So, but just to add an add-on, if you wanted more hair, of course you can add more wefts. You can get a 160 gram set and then 120 gram set. But again, we don't recommend it. We don't find there's enough room in your head. But if you wanted to, of course you could. Why not? You can add more wefts. Our Luxy hair extensions are made of 100% Remy human hair. Remy hair means that when the hair is processed and put together, the cuticles of the hair are all put into the same direction as it grows on your head, as opposed to kind of mixing in the cuticles, one up, one down. And what that does is minimizes tangling. A common misconception about Remy hair is that when people hear about Remy human hair extensions, they think that Remy automatically means Indian. But like Layla explained in the last question, Remy doesn't mean that it doesn't identify the origin of the hair. It just means the way that extensions are made. These are the best quality extensions, and they're put in a set in one directional way. Exactly, and it matches your own, the way natural hair is. Yeah, exactly. So it's the closest to the natural layout of the hair. And also our Luxy hair extensions are made of 100% Chinese Remy hair. And the reason we chose Chinese Remy hair is because when we were first starting out, we tried so many different clip-in hair extensions, and actually a lot of them don't even disclose what kind of hair they use. A lot of times we emailed and asked them because we wanted to know which ones we like the best. And that's obviously what we would want to use. But most companies wouldn't even get back to us to tell us what kind of hair they use, even though they say it's Remy. So we just had to try all kinds from the suppliers and decide on the type that we like the best.
And after trying different types of all kinds of Remy hair that's out there, we chose Chinese Remy hair because we find that it's the easiest to work with. It's very manageable. It's not as frizzy as the rest of the other textures that we tried, and it's very silky and smooth. So we
it's easier to curl as well.
Yeah, it's very it's ideal for what we had in mind.
It matches the texture of the hair actually matches with a lot of different hair types, from ethnic to white to Asian. So it kind of covers the wide variety of hair types out there.
Yeah.
So it's very important to brush the hair often, the hair extensions. And the reason for that is because you want to make sure that the extensions, just like natural hair, they do tangle because it is hair and hair tangles. But we highly recommend brushing the extensions all the time. We know a lot of people don't do that. They just kind of clip them in, take them out, and just leave them like that. And you can do that, but obviously that will, you know, shorten the lifespan. If you want your extensions...
I've done that personally, and it does tangle.
It does. If you want the extensions to last as long as possible, we do recommend brushing them often. So what we suggest is you can brush them before you clip them in, while they're in your hair, before you style or put it in a ponytail or hairstyle. And then definitely the most important thing is when you take it off, and you know, it will probably be a little tangled because you've been wearing it all day or whatever. So definitely brush it out before you store it away. That's very important.
Very important. We have a video explaining and showing how to wash Luxy hair extensions. I think it's pretty basic, it's very easy to follow, and if you've just purchased the set, definitely watch it, and it's gonna
link it below.
Yeah, it's gonna make it a lot easier for you. But in terms of how often to wash the hair, generally we say every 8 to 10 wears, but honestly, if you do not style them every time you wear them,
or if you don't use a lot of styling products,
yeah, then you might even go about 20 wears. Again, it all depends. It's very personal. Usually I wash it when I see there's enough buildup of a product, so I cannot style it anymore.
Right.
And then I know it's time to wash. Usually that's about 15 wears for me, because I don't use that many products. The hairspray that we use is very light.
And when you brush it out,
when you brush it out, there's no, like, it doesn't stick together or anything, so I can go a long time without washing them, and that's why they can even last longer for me.
Yes.
But again, it's a very personal decision, and use your own discretion, but usually we say about 8 to 10 wears. If you don't style or use a lot of products, then you can go about 10 to 20 wears without washing.
Just the general rule of thumb to remember: the less you wash the extensions, the longer they will last you. So try to use less product if you can. You know, a good hairspray won't leave a white residue or whatever. So it all depends on how much product you use. Luxy hair extensions are super straight when they first come in. They're processed to be like, just pin straight.
I'll show you kind of what it looks like when it just comes out of the package.
This is how it's gonna look like when it comes out of the package.
Yeah, they've been flat ironed to fit in the package.
Right. So when you first receive it, it's gonna look like this. And as you might know, girls out there that flat iron their hair, when you flat iron your hair, it loses a lot of its volume. So after the initial wash, the extensions will expand and become fuller, and their own hair type, I guess, is straight with a slight wave, very slight wave. If you just wash them, and when you watch the video, you'll see how you're supposed to dry them. If you follow that step, and once they're air dried, they will just have a full,
they will look even more fuller.
They will look fuller, and they will have a very natural kind of, not a curl or wave, but a very natural wave. So that is the texture of the hair. So having said that, you do not need to wash them when you first receive them. They come in ready to wear, so you just clip them in and you restyle them. But if you want them to be fuller and thicker when you first receive them, you can definitely wash them, but you don't need to do that. The lifespan of Luxy hair extensions can vary from person to person. It can be anywhere from 6 months to a year. It all or even longer, but it all depends on how often they're worn and how well they're taken care of. So obviously those things are crucial. Of course, how often you style them, how often you wash them, all that. Overstyling and overwashing, overextensions can obviously shorten their lifespan. So you want to, try to style just like with natural, just like with your own hair. If you want it to be the least damaged, then you want to try to avoid overwashing and overstyling it. that's a really good tip. So just like we mentioned earlier, Luxy hair extensions, since they're made out of human hair, do tangle a little bit, and it's important, like we mentioned earlier, to brush them before you put them in, while they're in your hair, and after you take them out. So that will definitely minimize tangling. And also sometimes depending on how much you style it, the hair can get dried out as you know, as you keep using it. So it's a good idea to use some deep conditioners, you know, just like you would with your own hair. Just really treat the hair nicely, moisturize it, hydrate it, and even use some detangling products that can definitely help as well with minimizing tangling.
However, I personally don't experience that much tangling.
Again, neither one of us use that. But then again, we do deep condition them really well, so maybe that's
And it also depends, if your hair is damaged, that might create tangles with the extensions.
Yes, because your hair will, you know, mix in with the extensions.
Yeah, because the extensions are really super healthy, and it will create that friction, and it might create a tangle.
Right.
But again, if you are, you know, brushing out and following all their maintenance, then you shouldn't experience, you know, any major tangling. Just a little bit that you can fix with your fingers or a brush.
As for shedding, just like with natural hair, Luxy hair extensions will shed a little bit, and if you get the extensions and you've never used hair extensions before, you might see a bit of fallout and you'll get worried that you know, something is wrong. But don't freak out, it is totally normal. You know, the extensions are not a permanent solution, so obviously there will be some shedding, and you know, over time you might need to replace your set. Like we said, it lasts from 4 to 6 months to a year or longer. So some shedding is normal, it's expected, and
minimal though. Yeah.
Minimal shedding, but I'm saying, you know, some people don't expect it, so they see a few hair and they get worried. So don't be worried, shedding is normal. Just like tangling, because it is real human hair.
Yeah, it's natural. Like we brush our hair and we see it fall out. Same thing, like this hair is attached to a weft. It's natural that as you brush and wear and style it, some hair will naturally fall out of the weft.
That is why
it's not something drastic that, you know, it just falls out and you can't wear it. It's just gonna be
over time.
Over time, that's what wears them out, is obviously you wearing and styling them.
Exactly.
Luxy hair extensions are shipped free worldwide, so that's something we're really excited about, because from day one that's something we wanted to offer to our customers.
It's a complimentary service no matter where you live in the world.
We ship for free. We ship our Luxys from our warehouse in Chicago. We used to ship it from LA, but we have moved our warehouse to Chicago because we find that is a better location, because we ship all over the world.
It's more of a central location, so it's even for, in terms of US states, it's you know, faster and easier to ship centrally as opposed to being on the
and also
West
that
Coast.
It makes it easier for international orders as well.
Exactly.
When it comes to international orders, a lot of people are confused when they hear free shipping. They think that they will not pay customs, but free shipping, we cover the shipping cost, but when you receive the package, your government might or might not charge you for duties, which is different for every country, so we cannot really tell you how much exactly you're going to get charged. It can be from 5% to 30% or even more. We don't know.
What this duty charge is, I think it's important to explain, because a lot of people probably don't know. It's a sales tax, basically. So if wherever you live, if you normally pay sales tax on your purchases, this is what you will be paying. And again, it can be very random and depends on the sales or the customs agent. That is what you're being charged. It's the sales tax, because this is an import product. So once it gets to your country, your government, your local authorities are charging that. It has nothing to do with that.
We don't get that money.
We don't ever see it.
We cannot prevent you from not getting charged.
Paying it,
sometimes people would ask us to mark packages as gifts. We do not personally ship packages out of here.
Obviously, they're sent from the warehouse.
We are a business, so we cannot be doing these kind of favors, as it's actually illegal. So, and personally, we wouldn't even be able to do it because we're not personally shipping them physically.
Right.
So that kind of covers the shipping and the duties of Luxy hair extensions.
So we offered 10 different shades, and when we were sitting down and deciding on colors in the beginning, you know, of the process, we kind of decided to pick, you know, most popular common colors, ranging from pure black to kind of blonde. And we find that these shades really do cover most of the colors out there. Sometimes you might be an in-between shade, but since the hair is human hair, it's really easy to, you know, get them custom colored. So the 10 shades are all solid colors, but the process of coloring the hair is called multi-tone coloring system, and what that means is that there's lots of different you know, shades within the same color in the extensions. So when you get the hair, if your hair is a little bit off, just like our hair, it will blend, although it might not be a perfect match, but it will blend because what the hair does is actually reflects your own natural color within reason, a few shades, you know, darker or lighter. So that is a very, very good thing. We have created videos on choosing Luxy hair extensions where we show all the colors side by side, helping you to compare the two and help you decide on which shade. And we'll link it right here somewhere and down below. So definitely check those out, and they should definitely help you out to
when choosing the right color for yourself. Since Luxy hair extensions are made of 100% human hair, it can be colored. So if you cannot find a perfect match, that's okay. You can either color them with a semi-permanent color, or you know, a hair dye, or a permanent hair dye. It's really up to you. We recommend taking them to a professional hair colorist because they know what they're doing, but don't just take them to any. I guess first you would want to find somebody who's experienced in coloring extensions, and if you're gonna color them yourself, if you know how to do that, that's fine too, but first you would want to try it on a small one clip weft prior to coloring the full set, just to see how the hair is reacting and if you like the results that you're getting. We do not recommend bleaching the hair because just like with natural hair, it is gonna damage it. Of course, a lot of our customers do get highlights in their Luxys or bleach their Luxys to get a different shade, which is fine, but just keep in mind that it might damage the hair, and it will most likely damage the hair because a bleach is a damaging chemical. It's a natural that whether you put it on a material, whether it's natural or unnatural material, it's gonna damage it. And
so if you do have to get highlights, we always recommend getting a lighter shade than you want, and then
getting low lights
or darkening the hair, because it is definitely less damaging and it's easier to do. So if you don't find a color that matches your hair and you have to get it custom colored, go a shade lighter and then color it down darker or low light it. So since Luxy hair extensions are human hair, 100% Remy human hair, they can definitely be trimmed or cut. Personally, Mimi and I do not cut our extensions or trim them.
We just like them the way they are.
We love them long, you know, we don't want to, you know, compromise the length, so we don't personally do it. However, it can definitely be done. Again, we don't recommend doing it yourself unless you know what you're doing, because if you just go and just, you know, do a blunt cut, it might not look natural once they're in your hair. So definitely,
and every time you'd put them in, you wouldn't know how to put them in.
It would be a different location, so don't do it yourself unless you know what you're doing. So definitely take them to a stylist, and the process, how we recommend doing it is, make sure that the extensions are already clipped in your hair, and before you apply them to your head, figure out a system that works for you in terms of numbering them. So, because once, you know, the hairstylist cuts them and you take them out, you have to remember the exact location, placement of the weft. Otherwise, again, it might not look as natural. So before you get them cut, figure out, you know, either with, I don't know, permanent marker or some sort of a little piece of paper, you know, stapled to the weft, whatever works for you. Figure out a numbering system so you know exactly where each weft is supposed to go. And yeah, it can definitely be cut and trimmed to any desired length. So 20 inches is something that's kind of in between. It's not too long, it's not, I mean, it is long, but it's not super long where it kind of goes up to your, you know,
it's kind of a perfect length.
It is a perfect length, and if you want them shorter, it's not a problem. You can definitely get them trimmed or cut to any desired length.
So that's pretty much summarizes all the most asked questions that we get all the time. We really hope this video has been helpful to you in deciding whether Luxy hair extensions is right for you.
Yeah, we tried to cover as many questions as possible, so hopefully this will answer most, you know, asked questions. And if in the future we get more questions, then we can definitely do another video covering that. But I think this is pretty comprehensive. So thank you guys so much for watching.
Have a lovely day,
and we'll see you guys in the next video.
Bye.